welcome to the PR show. I'm here with my buddy, Mr. Puff Johnson, right here. So, this is his beautiful man cave. He's a wonderful guy. He's a good Cub fan. So, Puffy, when was the first time you realized you actually had a passion and love for the Chicago Cubs?
Oh man, since I can't even recall how it all began. All I know is that, for as far back as I can remember, I've been a Cubby. My father was a Cubby before me. My son a Cubby after me. I'm a Cubby for life.
Do you remember the first time you actually went down to Wrigley to watch the Cubbies play a game, and what year?
So the first time I went down to Wrigley was 1987. I would have been 7 years old. I know it was 87 because it was the last year before the lights came in '88. So it was an afternoon game that started getting dark, and we actually started to get a little concerned that the game may have to be postponed because of lack of lighting. But they ended up wrapping up that game, and we did get that game in. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting to think back, to a time when we really didn't even have lights. But yeah, I've been a fan since way back then.
In the 90s, any memorable games you remember that's like historical to you?
Well, my favorite game of all time was pitched in the 90s. It was Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout performance. I remember specifically sitting down to watch that game because it was, our young hotshot pitcher facing a pretty good Houston Astros lineup, and they had the Killer Bees at the time, Biggio, Bagwell, Bell, set them all down, and everybody else that they had to offer that day. It was the most impressive baseball performance I've ever seen in my life, hands down.
What was your saddest day as a Cub fan?
Saddest day as a Cub fan? There have been a few of them. I've been a long time Cub fan, so guys like, Ron Santo and Harry Carey, it was really sad to see those guys go, Ernie Banks. Real sad. Horrible free agency moves. Watching Greg Maddux leave was very, very heartbreaking for me as a young kid. But I think just like everybody else, 2003, 5 outs away from the World Series, and heartbreak sets in. I don't blame Bartman. I never have. I never will. But nonetheless, just sad situation, and just glad to see that the Cubs have found a way to break that stigma.
Yeah, that's good. You see, I never blame Bartman either. You know who I always blame? Dusty.
Yep.
We had the best pitching staff that year. You had Kyle Farnworth, you had Joe Borowski. Why weren't they in the 8th inning?
Yep.
I understand we were up, but we should have went to the bullpen.
Don't let Alex Gonzalez off the hook.
No.
Double play ball.
Yup.
You did a double play ball.
Yes, he did. So, you told me a story a while back when I was here visiting with you.
Yes.
Would you like to retell that story?
So, if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, you're talking about my bobblehead collection, and let me just kind of start at the beginning. I don't believe in switching up a mojo. Once the playoffs have started, the way that my collection is kind of laid out is the way that my collection is left. Nothing should be moved. Nothing should be messed with. We don't add anything. We don't subtract anything. Because we're going good, we leave everything as is. As you know, we ran into that little bit of a speed bump where, we fell behind 3-1 in the World Series, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So in an effort to go ahead and kind of switch up the mojo, I went ahead and I dug into a bag of some items my mother had bought for me, knowing that I'm a huge Cub fan, some items that my mother had bought for me from garage sales. And one of those items that happened to be in the bag was, of all players, Edwin Jackson bobblehead, and pulled it out of the box and took a look at it, and I'm like, Edwin Jackson, it wasn't exactly the most popular Cub, didn't have the greatest Cub career, but nonetheless, I was desperate, so I said, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put Edwin out here with the rest of the Cubbies and see if he can't go ahead and give us that little bit of a lift that we need, and I think the proof is in the pudding. One game 5, one game 6, one game 7 after I went ahead and put the bobblehead out there. So as far as I'm concerned, Edwin Jackson did have an MVP postseason for the Cubs. It was just as a bobblehead in my basement, and not as a Cub on the field.
Now, game 7, that 10th inning. Can you walk us through how you felt as a Cub fan watching it, knowing that the situation we're in and everything that went on that inning?
I was confident. I was real confident. I never gave up hope. I was really nervous when Rajai Davis had hit that home run to actually tie the game because, you know, we were in Cleveland, so they have the bottom of every inning. Going into that 10th inning, knowing that Cleveland had failed to put us away in the bottom of the ninth, I felt like they blew their one lone shot to take that game from us. They had blown it, and you know, we had the right guys coming up, right spot in the order. Had my boy Schwarber leading off. I mean, you know, right off the bat, you know, things were looking up. So I was confident. You know, I was. Don't get me wrong, not overconfident. You know, I'm a Cubs fan, so I've seen us look real close in the past, and I wasn't ready to go ahead and count the eggs before they had hatched. But nonetheless, I was confident, and man, I mean, all I can say is just as that inning went on, life got better and better for me. I'll tell you.
That's awesome. Now, what did you do after they won? I know you had work the next day, just like all of us.
Actually, no. Anybody that knows me knows that there's no way in the world I'm going to work the day after the Cubs win the World Series. So my boss wasn't even expecting me at work the next day. I actually went to Wrigley Field that next morning to go up and make sure that we could go ahead and grab as much of our World Champions merchandise as we could get our hands on. But that evening, I did what my father wanted to do and never had the chance to, and what his father wanted to do and never had the chance to, and I ran upstairs and I grabbed my kids and jumped up and down hysterically and just celebrated that the Cubs were champions. I mean, I tried to kind of express to them, you know, the significance of the event and let them know, you know, I mean, this is 108 years in the making for, you know, for this organization, and I mean, 36 years for me, and you know, I won't say how many years for my wife, but that many years for her too, and you know, I mean, just overjoyed. Yeah. Overjoyed.
See, and it's weird because like our generation, they were the lovable losers, and we loved them. Win or lose, they were our Cubbies,
yep.
And they're always our Cubbies. But now with these new young talent we have, I think we're gonna build a dynasty, and the kids that are growing up now are not gonna know the heartaches we went through. You know, I'm 35. You know, I waited 30 years to watch them.
True.
And, you know, I thank God I got the chance to see them, just like I know you are, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing that they won. But it's like now these kids are going to think, oh, the Cubbies were always a winning team, and it wasn't the case.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at a lot of these kids, you know, today that are 20-something, younger, and, you know, all they know the Boston Red Sox as is winners and champions and, you know, constant contenders. And the fact of the matter is, you know, before they broke through, back in, was it 2004, back before they broke through, you know, they were in the same boat as us, you know, so, yeah, I mean, it's inspiring. We've got the same guy running the show, Theo Epstein, that built their dynasty, and looks well on his way to turning the trick again, so I'm hoping so.
Speaking about Theo, now with Boston, they were down 3 games against the Yankees to get into the World Series. They came back in a 4-game winning streak that nobody has ever seen in baseball. And knowing that, and then knowing that Theo is now with the Cubbies, and you know, actually seeing what was happening in the World Series, I always had in the back of my head, Theo did it once, he's going to do it again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one thing about Theo, I mean, it speaks to the quality of guys that he tends to draft, and you know, the guys that he recognizes are gamers, and you know, not gonna wave the white flag, and guys that aren't gonna give up. You know, I mean, it's not a coincidence. It's just a matter of, you know, he's got a very, very good idea of, you know, who a good player is and what makes a good player. And I mean, it goes beyond, you know, it goes beyond batting averages and fielding percentages. I mean, there are intangibles, and Theo's pretty good at recognizing those in his players, and he did a good job in Boston, and so far so good here in Chicago. Sure.
To me, he's got the greatest mind in baseball.
Absolutely.
And you know, and he did it earlier in his career when he was younger with Boston, and then to do it now with the Cubbies, and he even promised. He said it was going to be a 5-year thing to make us contenders, and in 4 years, we were right there, almost in the World Series. You know, we're in the NLCS. And we got knocked out by, you know, we all know who, you know,
absolutely,
you know, the Mets, but nobody wants to talk about the Mets, you know. But then to see him turn around with the team the next year, I already knew we were gonna have that this was our year.
Oh, absolutely. I have to agree with you. I mean, we were primed for this. I mean, last year we were a little bit early. This year there wasn't a doubt in my mind we're gonna be right on time. We're gonna go ahead and get it done.
And I believe even now with Chapman gone, and you know, some of the guys leaving, I already know Theo's already got penciled in his plans for the next 3 years.
Oh yeah. It's a chess match. I mean, he sees the moves before they happen, and he reacts accordingly. And I mean, he's solid resume. I mean, you can't say anything but positive about the guy. I mean, he's an uber genius. The only person who might be smarter than Theo is Mr. Ricketts for having the sense to pull the trigger on paying that man whatever it took to bring him in the door. Same thing goes for the two of them bringing in Joe Madden. I mean, the Cubs are built from top to bottom. It's a perfect situation. I mean, it's nothing like anything I've ever experienced back when the Cubs were owned by Sun Times, and just you can really tell that it's that pride of ownership with the Ricketts family, and that they're true fans, and they recognize that they're not baseball geniuses, so they're not trying to run the team. They just go out and get the best capable people to do so, and again, can't argue with it when it's working so well.
Because even in other sports, when you see owners that are like that, that's dedicated to the team and is a fan of their team, they go on and do big things. Look at Mark Cuban, for instance.
Absolutely.
And every year, like this year, Mavs ain't doing nothing, but they always have some pieces that, couple moves, they're right back in it.
True. Absolutely. And it, like I say, it comes back to it's just certain GMs they have a knack for looking beyond that which everybody else sees. You know what I mean? There are things that are evident to every GM out there. I mean, like I say, the fielding percentages, the batting average, ERA. I mean, you could go on with the statistics, on and on and on. But it's the intangibles. It's the quality of character that I feel that Theo does a good job of making sure that not only can the guy play, but we want some quality guys, and that brass, that quality really shined through, in that 10th inning. I'm backs up against the wall. We're in their house, got to make something happen now, and guys had the fortitude to get it done.
No, all right. Let me ask you a question. All right, 1980. In the 80s, who was your best player? Or your favorite player for a Cubby in the 80s?
I was a huge Ryan Sandberg fan. That was my as a young kid, that was my first current player. That was like my favorite player. That's probably because, like I say, I started watching back in about the mid 80s. My buddy Grace didn't come on until about 89. So I mean, just kind of I would definitely say Sandberg. If I'm going to talk about one player from the 80s, Sandberg. If I was going to talk about a player from the 90s, then we'd be talking about Gracie. Over the 2000s, I mean, I'm still a fan of Sammy.
Me too. He did what he did, but you can't hate the man.
Yeah,
he tried.
You can trash Sammy all you want to trash Sammy, but Sammy was Sammy, and I mean he was a Cub, and loved the Sammy days. But happy to be here today. I mean, got a roster full of guys. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, you pick any one of them.
They're all
a roster full of great kids.
They're all good.
Right now, I would say I'm probably more than anybody a Rizzo fan, but that's probably just because he's taken the lumps. He's been here with the Cubs. He's seen thin years. He was on a 103 loss team. He's earned it. He has absolutely gone through, paid his dues. He's earned it. He's a champion now, and I'm extremely happy for him.
Now, not to talk bad about Castro. How do you think he feels that the Cubbies won and he's in New York? He's got to feel salty.
Yeah, I mean, I
but we all knew it was coming.
I think anytime you leave a good team, you're a little upset, and then if they go on to go ahead and win a championship, I mean, yeah, sure, the one thing Castro has going for him though is, he wasn't traded to the Milwaukee Brewers.
No,
I mean, we're still talking about the New York Yankees. So I mean, year in and year out, so long as he's a member of that roster, he too should have a chance to contend.
All they got to do is pull out their checkbooks and they're right back in.
Exactly.
They did it before. They always have. They always will.
Right. So it's not quite. I'd imagine it's not quite as bad for him as it would be, for other players that have been traded to lesser teams than say the Yankees, who are, let's be realistic. They're still the cream of baseball. You know what I mean? Not this year. It's our year, but just collectively, they're still the cream of baseball.
I liked Castro, and I feel kind of sad for him because he was that Cubby that was the baby before all these other babies came on the team. He was the first one that was like, this is our start to changing our team. And it's like to see them get there and then you know, him not being there is kind of sad, you know.
It is, but
But Russell stepped up, you know. You had other guys that stepped up in his place. You really didn't need them.
To hear Castro described as, you know, the baby is accurate, but he was Hendry's baby.
Well, yeah.
He wasn't Theo's baby.
He wasn't Theo's
and
baby.
that's a big part of the reason. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it is, you know, I mean, when you look at some of the transgressions that Castro had in his personal life, you know what I mean? Those aren't exactly in line with what I was describing to you. You know, the character, quality guys. You know, that guys are currently on the roster. You know, so I could see why Theo was, you know, just kind of, you know, I mean, let's not forget there was a couple of years in a row where Castro had more hits than anybody in baseball. So I mean, he knew he was giving up a pretty decent guy, but he went ahead and, you know, turned that into a decent little haul for the Cubs and unloaded some contract, made some room for some of the young kids to come up and step into the roles that they stepped into, and I gotta say, I think it worked out all right.
I think it did too. But it's just funny, just watching since like, you know, 2011 to 2016. You know, each season go by and by, and just like the improvement, you know, like, you know, and it's like Theo just came in and just like cleaned house. He did what he had to do, you know, and it's like it's a beautiful thing. It's like I believe in sports every GM should be like that, you know.
Right.
Because what are they actually there for? They're there to win it all. Absolutely. And these guys buy into it. I think the best thing was when we got Joe Madden too, you know. We got Lester coming, you know, then we got Lack, and it's like it's just we're already building with the young talent, but then you're getting, you know, the veteran pitchers and stuff that wins you games. And you think about it, look at just the pitching staff alone, the starting pitchers. Lackey was hurt.
Yep.
But four out of the 5 had 15 plus wins?
Yep.
Except Lackey because he was hurt.
Yep.
But if Lackey would have played, he would have had 15 plus too.
Absolutely.
And that's for 5 starting pitchers to go in, you know, every big day and pitch like that's just phenomenal.
I mean,
crazy.
Yeah, the pitching this year was I mean, I can't even. We had years where we had, you know, Pryor, Wood, Maddox, Zambrano, and I mean, it looked like we should have just ran away with the division, and it didn't quite pan out that way. But yeah, to see all of the guys kind of come together, and I mean, I know Lackey didn't have 15 victories, but his win percentage was still high. Everybody was still over 65%. So I mean, you know, just all in all, I mean, a hell of a job putting together that rotation. Just enough bullpen to kind of, you know, to get the job done throughout the course of the season, and, you know, brains to recognize, you know, we needed that one power arm for that stretch run, and they went ahead and brought in a guy like Chapman to go ahead and help us seal the deal.
You could throw 105. That's a scary thing.
Absolutely.
And they picked them up mid-season in the summer. And it's like we knew that when we got him, we had him just for one job and one job only. That was to win, to take us in. And he did it.
Absolutely.
And how you think he's gonna pitch next year?
You know, I mean, Chapman, as long as he's healthy and not overused, is always going to be a pretty dangerous guy at the end of the line. I mean, if you can run it up there at 105, you know, you're going to be somewhat successful. That said, I mean, do I think that he'll ever have like a dominant, you know, postseason performance like an Andrew Miller had this past postseason? No, I don't foresee that in his future. I just don't think he's that kind of guy. You know what I mean? But when you need a guy to go out there and strike somebody out, any one guy, that's your man. So I mean, still can't knock him in that regard. He's still that, you know, you got 3 pitches to hit, good luck. He's that guy.
And still speaking on Chapman, like in the postseason, when he was throwing his fastball, he was getting people out. But did you notice how it was like the old time veteran hitters that was patient in the plate were like the only ones that can actually hit him?
No, it's not surprising to me. I mean, you know, when you're young, you know, you see 105 on the scoreboard, you know, the radar readout, and you know, you think you got to swing the bat, you know, 10 times harder, and that's not the case. You know what I mean? You just start your swing a little bit earlier. You know, keep your bat through the strike zone as long as possible. Veterans understand what that means. They know how to do that. You know what I mean, they don't get consumed by the moment. You know, I mean, you get some of these young guys. You know, in their head, they're thinking this is my chance to be a World Series hero, and before you know it, they're gassed, you know, just overmatched. You got to be able to stay within yourself, and you got to be able to kind of assess the moment. You got to recognize that, you know, the pitcher's trying to play on your emotions as well. You know, if he sees you hopped up and, you know, itching to swing, he's going to throw you something off speed and probably have you looking foolish way out in front of the pitch. So no, I mean it really doesn't surprise me that the veterans were the guys that got to roll this. I mean, veterans, they are the veterans for a reason. They got the experience. They put that time in. They've seen, maybe not 105, but they've seen some power arms over the course of their careers. They know how to handle it.
Yes. So, how about our Chicago Bulls? How do you feel on them?
Now the Bulls.
I was like, oh wait, we were talking about good when I was going Bulls.
So we go from a happy story to a sad story. The Bulls are they're in my opinion they're a team that's middling. We're a middle of the pack team. I don't think I think they should make the playoffs, but I don't think they have any business contending. I don't foresee that happening. I'd love to be wrong. I very much hope I'm wrong. I would love for the Bulls to make an unforeseen playoff run. I just don't think that it's in the cards. The league has gotten the youth of the league has gotten good, and we've gotten older, and the combination just doesn't seem to be good. So,
how do you feel how the NBA is now compared to when we were kids in the 90s? Like 80s and 90s was ours. 90s you couldn't even go down the paint. You can't even drive down the paint. You were getting knocked on your ass. How do you feel with the game changing where everything's foul, you're in the line?
It is a softer league nowadays. That's obvious. Jordan, MJ, has gone on record, when he hears about some of the new rules and regulations that kind of assist offensive players, with regard, just things you can't do defensively that you used to be able to do. And Michael's remarked that he would be able to score, 50 a night in today's league, if they had those rules in place back in his day, just because, it's like, for example, like two hands on the back. Back in Michael's day, you could do that. Nowadays, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
And if you're playing up basketball, you recognize how much easier it is to defend somebody like this than it is like this. So I mean, the league has definitely changed. It's gotten softer. I feel like, in my opinion, it's not even the superstars that have become lesser. I feel like some of the superstars may actually be as good as some of the superstars from our day. It's just the middle of the pack players. The league below the top talent is way weaker now than it was back in our day. You had guys. I mean, you had role players on some of these older teams. And nowadays it's like you're a superstar or you're a scrub. You're expendable.
But then you do have your teams that got no stars. Like they got star players, but they're not all stars. Like you think about like the Charlotte Hornets. They got Kemba, but Kemba's not a superstar. He's a star player, but not a superstar. But then you look and see how Michael did with them and how they're playing ball over there under Steve Clifford, and they're playing that team ball. I think to me, watching the NBA today, I like more the team ball than somebody just dominating.
Well, the team ball, team ball is typically more effective, but when you get to the playoffs, you need that superstar scorer. It's been proven time and time again. Atlanta last year, they were the team ball team. They looked fantastic throughout the regular season, and then they got into the playoffs, and they were exposed because they didn't have that guy that could isolate, kind of take the ball and guarantee go ahead and get them 2 points, 3 points every time down the floor. It hurt them. So yeah, there's definitely something to be said about playing the team game, the right way, if you will. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to have that guy like a Kevin Durant or a Steph Curry, LeBron James that can just go ahead and take the ball and say, we need 2 points. I'm gonna go and get 2 points.
Now, did you see a couple of nights ago what James Harden did? He had like the 52 points, 17 assists, and like 15 rebounds or something. It was just nuts. It's like. And to see him go, we always knew he was a good player.
Right.
He just didn't show up in that one NBA Finals,
Right.
If he would have showed up, they would have won. Against Miami.
Yeah.
And he should have. And to me, looking at the NBA, I love the NBA, but like that OKC team, once he left, you knew that team was gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Because then you lost Ibaka and then Durant, and it's like they all just left. It's like, and it's more their ownership than anything, like we were talking earlier about. The owners and GM being fans of the team,
Right. No, that's very true. And I mean, just it's kind of funny how you talk about, Harden leaving and then just kind of being like the first domino to fall. I mean, unfortunately, it's like that. It's like that in a lot of places, and it really takes a special kind of a GM executive to recognize, that this one person leaving, I mean, it's not just subtraction of one player, his stats, his contributions. I mean, you gotta kind of take into consideration, how does this player affect the rest of the team? And I don't think that they took that into consideration when they let Harden walk. Because, I mean, he was that guy that, not only was he out there doing his thing, but he definitely kept everybody else engaged.
Oh, yeah.
And on a team where, you got KD was definitely going to get the ball and get his, and Westbrook was going to make sure he took his. It was good to have that one star player that, you couldn't just key in on and know that he wasn't going to pass because he didn't know how to do it. So yeah, that was real tough, and I mean, look what ended up happening. I mean, yeah, they went ahead and they made the finals, but
they should have won that final.
You see how that turned out for them? Yeah, you see how that turned out for them. And now they lost KD, so now it's like, I don't foresee them returning to the finals anytime soon.
Now, like everybody trashes LeBron. I don't know him personally, or we don't know him personally.
Right.
We don't really know how he is outside the court.
Right.
And then I know a lot of people say they hate him because when he was leaving to Miami, the decision,
Right, yeah.
And it's like, to me, it's like, I don't care about that. And it's like, but like, I don't know. I don't, hate's a strong word. I don't hate him. I just dislike him. But to see him go, down 3-1 to win his championship, but then be in the World Series cheering for Cleveland and watching the Cubs do the same thing gave me justice. To me, that's like the Bulls and the Cubs won.
I agree. No, anytime, I mean, for me, it's just watching LeBron out there as a Southern Indians fan after his media reported, Yankees fandom, was kind of bandwagonish to say the least. So I was glad that his bubble got popped there, and that the Cubs were able to go ahead and kind of throw up that roadblock, not allow Cleveland to be title town this year.
All right. Well, we're gonna end today. This is my buddy Puff Johnson. I appreciate you having us here, showing us some of your stuff. It's a beautiful collection. Thanks for the interview. It was a great interview. And I know you love the Cubbies, and I know it meant a lot for them winning for you. I just hope next year maybe we can catch a game together, bud.
For sure, buddy.
All right, bud.
We'll do it, man.
Thank you.
Go Cubbies, 2017.